listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
You've had a long day at work, and you can't wait to just get home, take off your shoes, plop yourself down in your favorite chair, and relax. You walk up to your tranquil residential home and your neatly manicured lawn in your quiet suburban neighborhood, put the key in the lock, open the door, and... Yes, the pets have gone wild! What were you thinking? Welcome to the show about everything you always wanted to know about exotic pets. Where to get them, what to feed them, and how to care for them. You'll even find out why some people live with a monkey. Now, here's your host, exotic pet expert and author Bob Tart. Hey, Bob, what were you thinking?
Hi, I'm Bob Tart, author of the books Enslaved by Ducks and Foul Weather. And I am back after, quite a while doing a new podcast here. And it has been even longer since I've done a phone interview because of various issues with my phone recording equipment. It just frustrates the heck out of me. And speaking of frustrating the heck out of me, I'm joined by Kelly Meister. The crazy critter lady from, should we say, Northern Ohio?
Northwest, yeah, somewhere in there.
All right, and Kelly has written a book, which we are going to talk about. I do want to tell my listeners that even though I haven't done a podcast in quite a while, that I'm still fulfilling the terms of my agreement with Pet Life Radio in doing a podcast every week. It just is only every week if you live on Jupiter. In fact, maybe more than every week, because on Jupiter I was just reading that a year is 12 Earth years long. So I think I'm in the ballpark. But we've had too much stuff happening here lately. That's one reason that I haven't done a podcast. Besides,
hey, Bob?
Yes.
Are you podcasting in a parallel universe as well?
We don't know. I probably have more listeners in a parallel universe. That's for darn sure. I think that's where they all are. I think they're trying to find me. Among the things that have been happening is just today, Linda caught a stray cat in our live trap that was coming around. And we thought it was a male. We'd been calling him Harold, but we just found out from the vet it's a female, so the name will be Harriet. But we're not keeping the cat because she's quite wild, and we found a really nice woman not too far from us who has a bunch of barn cats, but there are really safely kept barn cats because she has a large fenced-in area so that they never escape and come to any harm, and she just loves cats. And we just couldn't stand seeing the stray. She looked like her health wasn't very good. There'd be days when she wouldn't eat very well. We couldn't approach her too closely, and plus with winter coming up, I didn't want her to go through cold winter. Do you get strays, Kelly?
I don't know. There are one or two cats who have wandered by with some regularity, but I don't know whether they're strays or whether people are still foolish enough to let their cats outside.
Well, we definitely know that people are foolish enough to leave their cats outside, because I've done that until recently. But actually, since Harriet started coming around, we stopped letting Franny outdoors. And so now all of our cats are exclusively indoor cats, and I feel much better about it. Other things that happened, raccoons broke into our goose pen, and 3 or 4 times. They didn't hurt anything, but I hurt my back trying to fix it, so that was fun. Let's see, a well pipe broke just recently, and it cost us $1,400 to fix that.
Holy cow.
Lightning damaged my computer. I had to get a new one, and just the software was $900.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was all this Adobe stuff, and I had to have it.
It's a good thing you're a multi-millionaire from YouTube best-selling books.
I was going to say, this wouldn't be so bad if I actually had a more lucrative job than being a part-time writer. Also, our pet sitter broke our one and only toilet in the house while Linda and I were gone for a couple days, and the less said about that, the better.
Oh, I was going to ask for details on that. That sounds like the most intriguing bit of all.
No, not good. And then the last thing I will mention that threw me a little bit is that probably for the last 14, well, maybe not 14 years, the last 10 years, I've been talking about the title of my new book, The Funnel of Happiness. And I've been defunneled. The book is still coming out in March or April 2012, but my publisher was not crazy about the title. Think of that. So, I told you about this, didn't I, Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was as bummed as you were. I hate having to give up control of my baby.
We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened was they wanted a different title because the editorial board met and they just thought it took too much explaining. I think I talked before how the title came about, and just because we had a cat that wore one of those cone collars because she had an injury, and it turned out she got spoiled so much that the cone was her funnel of happiness. And my publishers just wanted something more direct, and they wanted something that was more like Enslaved by Ducks. And I got to tell you, they came up with one title, which is one of the worst titles I've ever heard. It was Entrapped by Cats.
Oh, that is bad.
No, not good. And so I was trying to come up with something, and Linda came up with just a perfect title. I just love it. It's in the vein of Enslaved by Ducks, and it gets across that idea, and it's kitty cornered.
Yes, I like that a lot.
So that's what the book is going to be. It's going to be called Kitty Cornered. Yeah, I like that more all the time. I think that's
it's growing on you.
Yeah, I loved it right away, but I like it even more all the time. It's got kitty right in the title, and so cat people, I think it'll just make a more immediate impression than the funnel of happiness. So there we go with that. Yeah. So speaking of books, it can be frustrating working with publishers, and a lot of authors these days are choosing alternatives to that. Kelly, you've got a new book out. What's your book called?
It's called Crazy Critter Lady.
What a surprise. You are the Crazy Critter Lady, aren't you?
I wanted to keep it simple, something I could remember.
Yeah, Crazy Critter Lady, and let's start right off by telling people how they get it.
BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com. Either one, just type Crazy Critter Lady in the search engine, and there you will be. Okay.
And you were able to maintain control of your book, huh? Creative control. You got to put exactly what you wanted to in it.
Yes. It's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I mean, I would have liked to have had a conventional publisher, but then again, you give up some things, like control of your project. And
I thought you were going to say control of your product, because working with a publisher, that's unfortunately what it feels like a lot, that you're just putting out a product like making a hamburger.
Well, you kind of technically are in a business sense. I mean, that's what it is. It's a product that they are offering to sell to the masses.
And I totally get it from their end, but it's still, I kind of envy you because you were able to do exactly 100% from title to every word that you wanted, right?
I was. And it's interesting, though, backing up just a second, when you said that your publishers kind of wanted Enslaved by Ducks, take two. Because I've been saying to people, one of the big reasons I think I haven't been able to get a publisher was because I didn't write Marley and Me Too. And they all want the thing that's already successful. Because as Ann Minnie, who you introduced me to, writer herself, Ann Minnie said that 80% of the new books being published are self-published. So, I mean, that really narrows the focus and the market and the money available for conventionally published books. So they're really being very careful about what they will print. And what they will print is Marley and Me 1, Marley and Me 2, Marley and Me 3, et cetera, et cetera. They want the same thing sort of regurgitated, and they really don't want to take a chance on something a little different. And that was really frustrating. And after years of sort of waiting for, something that didn't happen, I thought, I could self-publish and start making money now, so I might as well just do that. And by making money, I don't mean, hundreds of thousands. I mean like tens and 20s. But yeah, I had 100% control over it, and it was a lot of fun, and it was a very interesting process. It took longer than I expected. I thought it would be about a month, but to do it right, to catch all the typos, to make sure every T was crossed and I was dotted, it actually took more like 3.5 months. Yeah,
but let's compare it. I handed in my book to my publisher last October, I think.
That long, yeah.
And it's not, and because they were busy on other projects, they didn't get to it for a few months, and it won't come out till March 2012.
Yeah,
so that's a long time. That's
over a year, for heaven's sake.
Let's give Ann Minnie a quick plug since you mentioned her. Ann Minnie, it's ANNEMINI. She has a wonderful website for people who want to get books published or who want to publish them themselves or try and find an agent. It's called Author, and she's just got a wealth of knowledge, and she's a wonderful person. So check out her website. It's annminnie.com. So just wanted to get that out there.
Yes.
So the process was really probably easier than it used to be getting books self-published, because is yours kind of a print-on-demand thing?
That's exactly what it is. And I'd actually talked to a guy who had self-published, I'm going to say, he self-published a number of books, but back when I talked to him, it was still kind of in its early days, and you had to buy, X amount of books, and he said he had invested a minimum of $10,000 in this process. Yeah, which is insane, because who's got that kind of money? And that was not the case now. There's a program through Amazon. Actually, there are two. There's a do-it-yourself one that's free, but you got to be someone who for whom that sort of thing is easy. See, computers and I hate each other, so it did not work out for me. And I paid money, which I'll just go ahead and say it was $500, for their team to put everything together for me, and
wow,
it's worth every penny.
That's a great deal. That's really cool.
Yeah, and you get a fair amount of distribution. You get a finished product that you dictate the terms. You decide the font. You decide where everything's going to be on the right page, on the left page. I wrote to them because they have a team, 3 or 4 people that were working on my project, and we would email back and forth. And I asked them at one point. They have these little weird icon things that you put at the beginning of chapters. It's just a little decorative feature, and I forget what they're called, but it's just there were several to choose from, and I emailed them and said, can you do critter icons instead, like a duck for the duck chapters and a horse for the horse chapters? And they said, yes, we can.
Cool.
And that was terrific fun, being able to design to that degree.
That's great. That's really cool.
It was fun.
What's the name
of it? And I would do it again.
What's the name of that book again?
Crazy Critter Lady.
Crazy Critter. And you wouldn't happen to have a website, would you?
In fact, I do, Bob. And strangely enough, the website is called crazycritterlady.com.
All right, and all one word, huh? crazycritterlady.com. And you would, it's too bad you don't have a blog.
Now that you mention it, I actually did magically create one about 2 years ago.
Did you?
Oh, dear Lord.
Wow, time travel.
Yeah, I know. We're going back in time, and yet somehow we're still in the present. It's Kelly's Critter Talk at blogspot.com.
Okay, and if that's too much for people to remember, they can go to crazycritterlady.com and they can find a link, right?
Yep.
Because that's what I do, because I forget all the time.
Yeah, me too.
And, and you're on Facebook.
I am doing the Twitter now, which I'm told it's very unhip to call it the Twitter, which is why I said I'm on Twitter and Facebook and MySpace and LinkedIn, but I have no idea what LinkedIn is. So I don't know what I'm doing there.
No, I'm on LinkedIn, but for some reason I got into it a couple years ago and jumped to Facebook instead. And
okay.
But people can look for you on Facebook and friend you?
Yes, they can. I am wide open. Anyone
Me too.
Can go there.
Me too. Yeah. Good. Very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're nearly at the halfway mark. So as soon as we come back from the station break and from the supposed advertisers, we'll actually concentrate on what the book is about. Okay. So You are listening to What Were You Thinking by the author of Kitty Cornered. And my guest is Kelly Meister, the author of The Crazy Critter Lady. And we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back.
What Were You Thinking? We'll be right back after Bob gets the ducks out of his living room. Don't go away.
Buster, you're telling me my dog food products can't go on your shelves?
That's right. Didn't pass one of my Petco certified nutrition checklists. Sorry, Wayne.
Who made these checklists?
Geniuses. Very smart guys.
Well, it's good enough for most grocery stores.
Do you see cheese puffs on my shelves? Mayonnaise? Soda pop?
No.
That's because I ain't running no grocery store, Wayne. Your pets will get better nutrition. I guarantee it. Petco, where the healthy pets go.
Enter the code WHAT. WHAT, and save 10% on orders of $65 or more, plus free shipping at Petco.com.
Love your pets but wish their medications were a lot less expensive? They are at 1-800-PET-MEDS. You'll not only save on flea and heartworm medications, but on prescriptions for arthritis, incontinence, thyroid, and more. And you get fast service, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, our licensed pharmacists ensure accuracy, monitor drug interaction, and more. See why over 5 million people have trusted their pet's health to 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy. Call now or order online.
Go to petmeds.com/what, WHAT, to get 10% off any order and free shipping on orders of $39 or more.
I don't make any decisions about who to hire without going to Angie's List first.
You'll find reviews on home repair to healthcare, written by people just like you.
With Angie's List, I know who to call, and I know the results will be fantastic.
Angie's List, who you can trust.
Go to angieslist.com/thinking and get 25% off any subscription. That's angieslist.com/thinking, THINKING.
How would you like your business to reach out and invite in our audience? We have a brand new trademark concept called InfoSeeds. InfoSeeds are short 20-second seeds of information about your place of business, practice, or service. Is the best, most cost-effective way to invite us in. We only have a limited number of slots left. For more information, visit the website
PetLifeRadio.com.
Click on sponsorship information. There you can listen to a sample of InfoSeed. Remember, only a limited number of opportunities are available.
Hi everybody, I'm Megan Blake here with my sidekick Super Smiley, the giant mutt and spokes dog for throwaways. You're listening to Pet Life Radio, and I'd like to tell you about our brand new show, A Super Smiley Adventure. Our show explores adventures with animals. They can be traveling, out in the world trips, or inner journeys where our animals lead us to inspiration and self-discovery, or just plain fun adventures. Join us here on Pet Life Radio on A Super Smiley Adventure. Good boy.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. Okay, ducks are in the pond, rabbits in his hutch, and monkeys... Ow! In my car! Oh, okay, well, I go check my insurance policy. We'll turn you back over to Bob.
Hi, you're back again with Bob Tart and Kelly Meister. Kelly, what's your book about?
It's about animals.
What's that name again? What's the name of that book again?
Crazy Critter Lady.
Okay.
And the book is about critters. We've got stories about all kinds of different wonderful characters that I have known and loved. We've got, as I'm saying on I've got videos out, Bob. We should plug YouTube, because I'm Crazy Critter Lady 1. That's my channel. And we've got cats, ducks, horses, chipmunks, you name it. We got it all in one book.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that book.
You did?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Now, here's the main question. The $1 million question. Do you still have it, or did you use find the birds' cages?
Well, remember, I only had loose pages.
Yeah.
So I don't have the book yet.
Oh, okay.
So
you had the manuscript.
Right. So my guess is the pages of the book aren't going to do me a lot of good in the bird cages.
Oh, really? Well, they'll poop on them, won't they?
Yeah, I know, but they don't provide much coverage.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I mean, if you could get it printed in like a newspaper format, that would help me out. But anyways...
Specifically for the bottom of your bird cages, right?
Right. But anyway, yeah, it's a great book. I enjoyed it, and I wrote a blurb for it, in fact.
Yes, you did, and I stuck part of that on the back of the book.
Cool,
So
yeah.
that helped a lot, thank you.
Yeah, and what I liked about it, one of the things is what you're saying is that there's numbers of different animals. I love the horse stories, but I love them. But let's start with the ducks. Let's start with those pond ducks in Whoville.
Whoville ducks. Those little stinkers are addictive in ways that I did not realize. You could actually do a sci-fi movie where the world is taken over by domestic ducks through their charm and guile.
How did it start with you and the pond and all that?
Well, I was living in this crummy little dark apartment at one end of a subdivision. At the other end was this pond, and people had been dumping domestic flightless ducks down there for a few years. And I had no knowledge of ducks outside of, mallards and migrating, and that's it. But I would walk down to the pond and back to get some exercise. And when I was down at the pond, I would see people feeding these bigger domestic ducks, and I got curious because they would come right up and eat food off the top of these people's shoes. It was terrific. They were very engaging. So I asked what they were feeding, and then I bought some, and I started going down there and feeding them. And it got to be addictive because they knew who I was. They recognized me. They would see me coming and start quacking and race towards me, and it was just great. I mean, I was the duck's best friend, man. I mean, this was cool. I was somebody special there. So, it just kind of snowballed from there into feeding them more often, and then, getting to know who's who, and then when there was an injured duck, taking him to the vet, and then, of course, as you know, when there was an injured duck, they'd end up in my bathroom for a week being rehabbed. So it really did snowball over time from just an occasional thing to I'm now, the official person in Whoville who's in charge of the ducks.
And when you talk about feeding the ducks, you're not talking about you just happen to be there and you just happen to have some food. You would get up fairly early, especially when you live closer. In the period of time covered by the book, you would get up early and truck right over there, wouldn't you?
Oh, I had it well timed because the one downfall about the pond was it was very popular in the summertime with people. And kids would race up and scare all the ducks. What are you feeding them? Well, nothing now because you scared them off. So I learned to, during the school, in school's in session, I've got until school is out, which is, pretty much morning until 2:30. I can, work them into my schedule. But in the summertime, first thing in the morning, clock went off, I got up, didn't even have breakfast, just dip out to the pond before anybody got there and then feed them. And of course, change out the eggs in my plant duckhood program.
Yes, so that because they don't practice any kind of family planning, do they?
Oh, my Lord, Bob. Honest to God, one duck this summer, one of the domestics laid over 40 eggs.
Whoa.
It was insane. I kept pulling them out. I'm replacing them with chicken eggs. She'd add a few more. She'd add a few more and a few more after that. One girl laid 22 eggs. It was insane. This was a crazy year for duck eggs. I should have bought stock in chicken eggs, seriously, because I bought so many to replace all the duck eggs with.
And you weren't just going there in fair weather, because I think you posted photo on Facebook of a snowstorm you were in the middle of, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I'll be out there in a blizzard. I mean, especially in the winter, because they don't have any of the usual resources. The pond is mostly frozen over. They're not dabbling. There's no mud because it's buried in snow. That's the only food they get is what I and the volunteers give them. So yeah, I have been out there when the wind chill is like 5 degrees, blowing, drifting snow. The roads were impassable, and yet there I was like an idiot driving, 8 miles an hour, the whole way there just to get there in one piece to feed them. So yeah, it's a serious commitment. People don't, they see you feeding and they think, oh, that's cute, the ducks really like her. But they have no idea how much goes into this commitment.
Let's talk about what you feed them, because there might be people listening who think that'd be a cool thing to do, but you don't really want to go there with a loaf of bread, right?
Right, and I have seen graham crackers scattered on the beach. I've seen popcorn. I mean, people are dumping just all kinds of junk food, most of which attracts raccoons, which will kill the ducks. So if you're listening and you want to take something to the pond, please don't take junk food. You can get cracked corn at, any kind of grain outlet or, the sort of store that stocks, a lot of bird food and things like that. There's a brand called Missouri that you might be familiar with. I've never tried it. I don't know what's in it, but there are several varieties of things out there. I buy cracked corn and I buy duck pellets and I mix them together so the ducks have a bit of a better balance in their diet. But that's not the only thing. Like I said, there's this Missouri feed that I don't know what's in it.
I think it's gold nuggets because of the price.
Okay, I got you.
But,
well, I'll steer clear of that then.
Well, I wouldn't say that, though, because Kim Link, who has the Majestic Waterfowl Sanctuary, she absolutely swears by it and talks about sometimes getting birds in with really bad feather condition. And she puts them on Missouri for a while, and, they end up looking beautiful. So, and we use it now and then, but I can't afford to use it every week.
Okay, so evidently it's a little pricey.
Yeah, I'd say it's twice as much as regular pellets.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is pricey, especially when you're going through a lot of it.
Yeah, and I do, and you do.
Yeah, and I love the ducks, but I really can't afford to be buying gold nuggets for them.
No, or you will be going on a unicycle instead of a car.
Yeah, I'll be the poor critter lady.
Yeah, so you want to talk a little bit about, you got some great horse stories. One of my favorites is the story about the, I can't remember the name of the horse, but the really big horse that... Toby?
Obi.
Yes, Obi. And that's a great story. Why don't you talk about that? Because that was really a breakthrough for you with horses, wasn't it?
It was, I'm still learning that lesson, unfortunately, but Obi was a stinker long before I came along, and he belonged to a friend of mine whose daughter had done 4-H stuff with him. They trained, they worked together, they won. He was a champion horse before my friend bought him. And I think that was part of the problem because I was very beginning of novicehood. I had, 2 years of riding lessons. It wasn't a lot. I was by no means an expert. I'm still not years later, but then I knew very little. And what I didn't realize was that Obi figured out that I knew very little. And he also knew that he knew more than I did. So he put me through hell every time I tried to interact with him on a working basis. If I just went out to the house and gave him an apple, he was fine. But when my friend said, why don't you start riding him? I thought, well, great. I'll work with him on the ground and we'll get to know each other, and then I'll get in the saddle. Well, working with him on the ground was a misery after the first time because he tested me. They all do this. Horses, every horse, doesn't matter how much you know, they will test you to find out how much you know because they want somebody to lead them. And if you're not going to lead them, then they're just going to mess with their head. And he did this. I would take him out and walk him around, and at some point he would just plant his feet and refuse to walk any further. And it's a 1,000-pound animal, so it's not like you can just pick him up and take him home like you could with a poodle. So there was that to contend with, and I never at that time found one good way to get him moving. I had to try all these different tricks that I had been told about, and sometimes they'd work and sometimes they wouldn't. Well, finally I thought, I'm going to ride him. And it was a situation where there was a window of opportunity before my friend had to be somewhere, and she made it clear that I was not to ride alone, which was fine. I didn't want to ride alone if no one was there. But the window of opportunity was closing while she kept trying to figure out how to put all the tack on him because it had been a long time since she'd done it. Finally gets the tack on him. I get on him. I have him walk. He walks fine. I ask him to trot. He absolutely refuses to do it. After a while, because I kept asking, he decided he'd had enough of this whole interaction and he just stopped walking. And I was kind of at a loss for what to do. And I remembered my instructor said, make him back up. That's kind of a punishment for horses. So I told him to back up. And he didn't like that either. So he decided to cop an attitude and he started backing up all on his own and literally just walked into things, backed into the fence, backed into his water bucket. He didn't care. And it was clear, he was clearly saying, you want me to back up? Okay, watch this. And then he did. And I was alarmed because I had no control. I was telling him to stop and he was not stopping. And I finally hollered to my friend and said, look, I'm not doing this. He is making me stop, And so that was very uncool. You don't want to be on the back of a horse that you have no control over. So I got off the horse and I did a thing called lunging, which is where you command them to walk, trot, and lope in circles around you when you tell them to, and they must keep doing it until you tell them to do something else. And I borrowed a training whip from my friend, and you do not hit the horse with the whip ever, ever, ever. You smack it kind of near them, and the sound is supposed to get them going. So I did this, and he finally conceded. He said, okay, I'll let you be in charge for a while, which was the point of the lunging. You establish who's in control. So he let me know that he was going to let me be in charge for a while, and I got back on him, and I thought, well, we're kind of working in his living area. Maybe that's the problem. Or maybe if we go out in the yard, he'll feel differently. And sure enough, we go out in the yard, I asked him to trot, and he broke into the most beautiful trot I've ever experienced in my life. But it took, an enormous amount of mental effort for me to get him there, because I was not a horsewoman, and he knew it, and he was never going to let me forget it. This was beneath his dignity to have to, service someone who clearly did not know what they were doing, and he clearly deeply resented it. So it was humbling, to say the least.
Well, believe it or not, we're already at the 27-minute mark out of it. But this is what I wanted to say. What I love about this story is that, as I recall, this was a horse that the people, I wouldn't say they really gave up on him, but he was kind of losing interest. And you kind of brought him back again by taking him out. And so you really kind of gave him a brand new lease on life. So this wasn't even just about you learning to ride. This was about you doing something really, really great for him.
I felt like it because, he'd been retired to the back 40, and he was alone back there. He had no other animals or horses. And, you could tell that at some point he thought, well, she doesn't know a lot, but this could be interesting anyway, so I'll go along with it and see what happens. And that was how it went,
Yep, that's cool. And you've got, just what are some of the other subjects in the book? You got raccoon rescue.
Frog rescues, believe it or not.
Chapter
more
about
ducks, cats, several chapters about cats.
Mice.
Chipmunk, rehabilitation that I'm very pleased with. A bird, robin.
Don't forget the mouse.
And mouse in the house. Poor guy, though. That was not a good ending. But lots of different creature species to choose from. So there's literally something for everybody.
What's the name of that book?
Crazy Critter Lady.
And where do people find it?
Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com.
And I'm guessing that they can also find you at crazycritterlady.com. And do you have an email address listed on your website?
I do. There's a link there that you can just go ahead and email me whenever you like.
Good. And people can look for you on Facebook, too. And while they're at crazycritterlady.com, they can read your excellent blog. I always like reading that. You're a fine writer.
Oh, thanks so much, Bob. I really appreciate it. And thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's always good talking to you. We'll have you on again. And so this is Bob Tart, and you have been listening to my interview with Kelly Meister, author of is it The Crazy Critter Lady or Crazy Critter Lady?
Plain old Crazy Critter Lady.
No the need apply. So thanks, Kelly. Thanks to my listeners, and thank you to my producer, Mark Winter. And check out my website, bobtart.com. Look for me on Facebook and email me at bob@petliferadio.com. So we will see you again on the podcast shortly, I guess, because I think I'll be doing a show with Linda this week, too. So long. See you, Kelly.
Bye, Bob.
Thinking about buying a monkey? How about a ferret or a skunk? Then check out the show that will answer the burning questions. Where do you get them? What do you feed them? How do you take care of them? And most of all, what were you thinking? With exotic pet expert and author Bob Tart, every week on demand from PetLifeRadio.com.